What's good with it? It's your boy, Simon Phoenix. This is Shots Fired. What up? What up? What up? Yo, what's good with it? It's your boy, Simon Phoenix. This is Shots Fired Podcast. What up? What up? What up? If you are new to the show, right there, right, right there, exactly is where the email is you to get your topic on the show. So that's what we do on Sundays. Y'all send topics, I talk shit. Very simple. Okay. Now, if you're an artist, play the drums, guitar, you write, you do poetry, what am I missing? Any instrument, anything musically, you got a hot album dropping, please hit the email. I'd love to get you on the show, talk about your project, what you're going on. Now, if you're just an interesting person, you out here riding lions, fighting dragons, you want to tell me about it, I would love to get you on the show and get your exclusive, okay? You know your boy. I'm trying to be the new Rado Rivera out here. So holla at me, trying to knock Vlad out his spot. Shout out to Poor Man's Podcast. I'm going to need that HBO. That's to help a brother out by you hitting the like, share, and subscribe. You know how that go. But I need you to hit the like, and I definitely need you to share. And I definitely need you to subscribe to your boy. Shots Fired Podcast Sunday Night Rants with your boy Phoenix. Okay, let's get into the first one. And the first one is this right here. Hey, Simon Phoenix, did you see what happened with the House of Representatives and them making it so that trans women cannot play sports? Added this to Title IX. Yes, I did.
Well, as I said earlier, today is a great day for America, for fairness, for families, and most importantly, for female athletes. House Republicans pledged before the last election their commitment to America to protect women and girls in sports. Today, we kept that promise. I want to thank Greg Stubbe. He has fought long and hard to make sure this bill worked through. Why? Because he watched in his own district the unfairness. He watched women who would wake up early in the morning and train from a young age, sacrifice, only to find a biological man to compete. That was wrong, and we all know it's wrong. Unfortunately, today on the floor, not one Democrat could stand up for Title IX or stand up for women in sports. I believe that's wrong. And behind me today are just a few of the women that have experienced this. Macy Petty, Selena Soul, and Taylor Silverman. And there are so many more. These incredible women have dedicated their lives to the sports they love. We've watched it hearing after hearing to hear their stories. For years of waking up early and training late into the evening, they pushed themselves to the limit that's humanly possible, made sacrifice, and they never gave up. They strived for excellence, and they achieved it. And they learned the value of teamwork and hard work. But because they were forced to compete against biological men, they lost out on opportunities that they deserved. They watched their peers lose out on opportunities they deserved as well. So these women did something courageous. They spoke out. They spoke out for equal opportunity, for privacy, for safety, for truth, for everything the previous generations of women who fought hard for Title IX
did. I know you're trying to figure out my opinion. I hate you guys because you always sit me directly on the hot seat. I would like to give a disclaimer now to the LGBTQ community. If I offend you, I am deeply sorry. That is not my intent. That being said, I kinda see why, as undirtbaggedly as possible, to give me a second to explain. From a genetic point of view, you are always going to be whatever you are. Since we're talking about men transitioning into women, those men will always be men, meaning they have a certain amount of advantage, being that men's bone are denser and our muscles happen to make us stronger and faster. This advantage at a, let's say, amateur level is being said that's not going to be tolerated. The house says that. From a genetic point of view, I'm with them. Now, when it comes to the trans community and love and happiness, I say, let live, mind your business. I'm over here. You do what's over there. I'm going to leave y'all alone. That's just my personal stance on it. So, to answer the question again, I understand why, from a genetic level. Like I said, if you got punched in the face and you've seen that happen already. We've seen someone be punched in the face by a man, now a woman, and their eye socket was cracked. Seen somebody be a man and they was trash at swimming, ranked 200, and transitioned over to being a woman, and then they were the best in the world. We've seen it, and we've seen it enough times to have an idea that there is some type of advantage. So when people like Veronica Ivy say that we are policing who gets to be a woman, no, we're just saying that genetically you're still a man, therefore you cannot participate in amateur sports as a woman. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. Genetic point of view, you're still a man, you're still gonna have the muscles, still gonna have the bone density, your hands still gonna be big as hell, your chin still gonna be able to take a hell of a hit in comparison to a chick. No, the whole premise of it is similar to boxing. That's why you're not gonna let a 250-pound man get in there with a 114-pound man. That's not gonna be fair, even though they both men. That's just not gonna do it. We're just not gonna do that. So same rules apply. Unfortunately, for that group of people, it applies to you. I find it much, 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 much more interesting that women transitioning into men aren't saying anything. They have no dog in the fight, but it seems like they should, and we don't really hear about it. You don't. I mean, now personally, I would say that's because we're not gonna see any women that are now men try to get in the NFL. Probably not. You ain't gonna make the cut. You can get beat up. It is what it is. But I am curious to know why that's not being done. Just my thing. Just my thing. Let's carry on. Next. Now this is so much better. Thank you. This is so much better right here. Says, yo, Simon Phoenix, did you see Jim Jones talking proverbial trash about Pusha-T because of him being in the top 50 by Rolling Stone? I did. It's a lot of things to unpack. I will try to do them as intelligently as humanly possible to make it make sense. Number one, it's Rolling Stone. How much do we really believe what they got to say? That's number one. It is Rolling Stone. Take that how you will. Number two, all lists are subjected to a scrutiny that doesn't really exist. So there's always going to be a lot of bias. That's number two. Number three, when you put a top rapper list, are we talking people who sold units? Or are we talking about your proverbial favorites based on the hits and energy that they had during their time period, or projects, or consistency of very good projects? Number three, because without having an underlined idea of what the criteria is going to be, then you really can't have a list. So putting or those 2 to 3 things to the side, right? Then we get to the major issue. We have Jim Jones having something to say about it. Now, the capo, in comparison, because he was kind of asked, kind of about the list, that it is weird. I researched this though. This is the one that I kind of researched, watched what videos and what blogs I could about the incident. And I would say, shout out to Joe Buttons, that Joe Buttons and his team had the best breakdown on why. And here's the underground street political type shit you might not know if you're not a hip hop head. Drake recently brung out Dipset at a show. Could it be that Pusha T took the shot because Drake went and got somebody who the game would say is gangster? The people on the show were saying what I was thinking, which is, yes, Pusha T, his body's work, his things he'd have done, everything combined, I think that. Do we think it's a slight that Jim Jones was like, Big Sean was better? I would say, most likely. Now, with Drake bringing them out, is this a sign of loyalty of Jim Jones showing grateful? Jim Jones also in that interview has Drake should be in the top of hip hop conversation. It's literally saying Drake should be the guy. If you don't think so, look at it. Now, the argument then goes back with Joe Buttons having the conversation of saying, yes, those of us who are in the industry and see how things shake would say, yes, Drake makes the top 5 because he's a guy who has had a hell of a run. And those of us who are fans like me who would say no based off of our argument about ghostwriting or whatever other thing we say of why we don't like him is null and void because we're not in the industry or in the game. So, yada, yada. I would say after looking at all of that information that this looks like Jim Jones did exactly what is being speculated. Jim Jones thought maybe it is easier to say, no, Pusha is not that guy to be a top 50 rapper. I'm going to ride with Pusha and say he is. And one of the reasons why is Pusha is one of the main people who he's had a longevity that has to be respected. He's had hip hop quotables and he's been able to be waveless and have clones. There's plenty of people who wanted to have that Pusha type dope boy metaphorical skill set and they didn't. So even though Jimmy thinks people don't want to dress like Pusha or girls don't want to sleep with Pusha, we already know women want to sleep with Pusha based off finances. He might not have been the top guy at any point in time in hip hop, but he was always well respected. And number 2, I think Jimmy took a slight when he made the Dope Boy line. That's just me. The start of it was kind of foul because Jimmy starts it off with, who mess with Pusha and what do Pusha rap about besides dope, and we don't know if he touched it. That seems to be a slight to me. If you're asking me, that seems to be the slight. I'm just saying. So, in a nutshell, I found it all to be very strange and interesting. And I know Pusha T, when he get ready to say something, and he will, he's the master of the quiet slight. I remember he been giving Wayne and Drake that business quietly for years. And he has no problem with coming out with both barrels if he feels you are justified to get it that way. So, this might get nasty. Now, if it goes left, right? We got to put this on the floor now. If this goes left, this is unfair. Because if Jimmy takes this to street level, this is unfair because it started off rapper shit. You should be able to defend your shit on rapper shit, which is not a good look for you because you are not prepared to take on a dude like Pusha T. This is why he gets to get to walk amongst those type of giants, is because he's already proven he's a giant slayer in Drake. Number two, he is very verbally adept to give anyone the business if they want it, and he's petty enough to go there. Again, he is petty enough to go there. So I'm very interested to see how this is going to turn out. All right, let's take a break. And after the break, we'll do one more. All right, all right. And we are back. This one is a personal one. I'm both business for even bringing this up, but let's just say in an ultimate universe where you are a super gangster, if you were getting ready to do your gangster business, what would you like to listen to? Now, this discussion was being had with a group of people, and there was a few ladies there, and one of them said something outrageous. So most of the people say, in the parallel universe where I am gangster, I will be riding around listening to Tupac. Someone else said something classic like Jay-Z or Biggie. Someone else screamed out 50 Cent. Somebody else put out all of drill music. And then last but not least, as the lights get dim, somebody said, I wanted it to be R&B. I personally did what I always do. What the hell? R&B? You mean like Keith Sweat? They was like, yeah, like Scissor, like Keith Sweat, like Tory Lanez. Pause, we know he wasn't right. What? That's what you want to do gangster stuff to? Yes, yes, yes. No, we're not. We're not doing that. We're not pulling up on nobody on some gangster. And you decide that you would like to pull up playing Mary J. Blige. If this ain't a cheating problem, this better not be playing. This better not be playing. If I'm about to whoop on somebody because they owe us money, we are not pulling up playing Mary J. Okay? We are not pulling up playing Summer Walker. You would not have me pull up playing that. Ain't no Keisha Cole going down. No Beyonce, none of that. Better give me some Pimp C. That's what you better do. That's what you better do. That try to get sexy and then want to be gangster simultaneously. What is wrong with you? I shunned her and booed her immensely. I want you to know. For all the gangsters out there, I shunned her and booed her immensely. Okay, guys? Okay. This has been Shots Fired Podcast. If you would like to get your topic on the show, please check email. That's right. Check that. Write it down. Hit the email. Put your topic in there. If you would like to be a guest on the show, you're an artist, you're an entertainer, you are a writer, couldn't even get the word out, or a poet, hit the email. That's right. Hit the email. Okay? Okay. This has been Simon Phoenix. Shots Fire Podcast, Sunday Night Rant. Holla at your boy. I'm gone.